In a side street in central London, the coffee machine grinds and gurgles away all day. This is Lantana, one of a new breed of pioneering Australian-style cafes that are importing an experience we take for granted.
When I first came to London, I was just blown away by how difficult it was to go to a Melbourne-style cafe or an Australian-style cafe where you can just get really good coffee and good food in a casual environment. So I guess I was quite selfish in my motives. I wanted somewhere that I'd like to hang out.
Well, the expat crowd immediately gravitated to something familiar. Over time, the locals too have embraced this Australian style.
It's more relaxed, less stuffy than Starbucks or any other coffee chains.
The poached eggs were brilliant. Best poached eggs I've had.
To get English people to try something other than Eggs Benedict or the full English at breakfast time took a little longer. But, you know, we've been really blown away by how popular it's been. It's a small cafe, so we fill up pretty quickly, but on the weekends we've got, queues out the door for people wanting, some Australian brunch-style food and good coffee.
And good coffee is the key. London is awash in coffee shops, mainly huge chains. But as any coffee-addicted Australian will tell you, it's slim sippins when it comes to quality, and that's where our history has given us an edge.
We're introduced to coffee by the masters, by Italian immigrants, so we always started with very high benchmarks, whereas here it's much more of a filter coffee culture, Starbucks were one of the first big chains so that was what people were introduced to as an espresso coffee, so it's just a very different coffee drinking culture, I guess.
Quality coffee is also the hallmark of the Railroad Cafe in Hackney. It's another of the Australian startups changing the face of London's cafe culture, this one in the regenerating east of the city.
The influence that's come with these pioneering Australian cafes has definitely changed the way people think about cafes and the kind of things they expect and want from a cafe, and also from coffee, obviously, because now even the sort of chains are catching on to the flat white.
Describe the worst coffee you've ever had in England.
I think it was from a cafe in Manchester when I first got here, and it was dishwater, and that's not uncommon to find in a lot of cafes. So it's just pretty much just dishwater.
Here the customers come from all backgrounds. What they have in common is a willingness to try something different. And it's not just the way the food and coffee tastes, it's also the feel of the place.
I think it's interesting in Australia the way we approach food. It's a very normal, easy part of our life. It's something we do every day. We've gone past that idea of having special occasions, and I think what Londoners do so well, or what's great in the UK, is formality. Going into great, smart restaurants. But I think what Australians do well is casualness. And that's what I think that's really why people are enjoying it.
Bill Granger is one of Australia's most successful culinary exports, author of cooking books, star of TV programs, and now owner of the newest and more upmarket of the Australian eateries.
Your attitude when you're Australian, you have a very much an attitude of what you can do. And that's, I think, is very, very important with restaurants, because you've got to have a lot of confidence to do it, because to open your doors and to expect people to come in is a pretty terrifying thing. There's not many other businesses that, you do that. And I think that's very, very important, and especially as an independent startup in London, because London doesn't have a lot of independent restaurant operators. The market's dominated by restaurant chains. So I think being Australian gives people maybe gives us a bit of confidence, maybe a little bit of arrogance, which I think can sometimes be a good and bad side about being Australian. But yeah, it helps a lot.
And confidence is a useful commodity when you're opening a business in the middle of the worst downturn in decades.
I think it's interesting. When I started Bill's in Sydney in '92, it was the same sort of time. The economy was terrible, and I think what's interesting is when times are bad, I think people still like to go out and spend time with their friends and their family. And restaurants are a very social thing. And we're at a lower price point, so we're not such a big deal. So if people maybe, cut down the more expensive dining, they'll meet somewhere more casual for lunch. And I think, and also I think in times of things being difficult, creativity becomes more important.
And in London's cafe world, that culture of creativity is paying off. Businesses are thriving. And the ultimate compliment, the copycats are busy trying to recreate a success born in a faraway land. Philip Williams, ABC News, London.